Kamen Rider.
Decay, 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 no!
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be giving you my episode 12 review for Kamen Rider Gavv. Without further ado, let's begin with the review. Okay, so the episode opens up with again what happened last episode where Hanto, gets injured and basically he dehensions, and we see, Shoma finally discovering that Hanto is Kamen Rider Valen. And so the episode starts with, Shoma trying to, get, Hanto to a safe place and maybe, and have Hanto recover and healed up. And so, and then, we see, eventually, Shoma, shows up, de-transformed, tried to convince that he showed up there on the fly. And then Hanto's like, I don't believe you. And then Hanto, passes out. And then we cut to another scene where Shoma's, taking care of, Hanto. And eventually Hanto wakes up, and then he eventually gets all pissed off because he doesn't want to put, Shoma in danger. And that Shoma discovers that he's already a Kamen Rider. But eventually, Shoma does reveal to Hanto that he is that mysterious Gavv, or Kamen Rider Gavv. And then Hanto, all shocked, and then he understands. But eventually, both of them comes to an agreement that both of them does, want to work together. They want to, save people. They want to, protect people and protect others. So they decide to, put their differences aside and put their, and decide to, work with each other and trust each other. And eventually cut back to the handyman workshop, and then we see Satsuki, eventually is, having lunch with, the two girls that were in the previous episode. And we get to see, them talking, and, Satsuki's talking about how Shoma is a great person, and that he's a little odd, but he's still a good, worker. And it eventually cut to the main villain's lair, Stomach Inc., or, the villain's hideout or lair. And we get to see Longo talking to, again, the other female villain. Again, I'm going to try my best to learn the villain's names. I'm going to try my best in next episode, plus I'm going to learn the names. I promise, guys. But we see Longo is talking to, the other female villain about how, they eventually, got to recruit some new workers, but also, they're experimenting with their other Granudes, power up the other Granudes. And they eventually talk about Sheeta and Jeep, and then Longo's like, I could care less about Sheeta and Jeep. And then we eventually cut to a scene with the two Granudes, like two new Granudes for this episode, talking to each other. And we get to see the Granude from last episode that, eventually got away, or at least, defeated, Hanto. Is stated that he's getting more powerful, or at least he's going to try to kill those two Kamen Riders, or those two, guys that keeps getting in their way, keeps getting in, their boss's way, that being the main villains. And we get to see, Hanto and, Shoma are back at, the handman workplace, and then eventually they talk. And we get to see another attack is going on in the city. And we get to see, Hanto and Shoma, shows up there at, like, this another location. And we get to see the Granude from last episode shows up and, try to attack them. But Hanto and, Shoma work together. They henshin together. And they eventually fight the Granude from last episode. They fight the Granude. They eventually, they're still struggling, but they eventually get, somewhat of an upper advantage. But, their efforts are futile. And so the Granude gets an upper hand until, Shoma goes into his Zaku chip form and then, tries to even the odds. But again, the Granude's, getting the upper hand until, Shoma offers him, one of his Gochizos to Hanto, and Hanto uses the donut Gochizo to transform into his donut form. That's the image that you see on screen. And the donut form looks pretty good, looks pretty cool. And we get to see, his donut form gets to block, enemies' attack. Hanto's, donut form gets to block enemies' attack. And so he uses his blocking powers to his advantage. And eventually, Shoma and Hanto gets the advantage. And eventually they uses their final attacks. Hanto uses his final attack uses his donut form's final attack. Meanwhile, Shoma transforms into his Guru-kan form. That's his Hulkbuster-like candy form. And they both of them use their final attacks to defeat the Granude. They eventually defeat the Granude, and they eventually, saved the day for this episode. And they eventually, they did work together, and they decided to, to work together fully, and thus, they go back to, the handyman workplace, and, Satsuki is like, what the heck happened to you? And they eventually make up an excuse for what happened to them. But they're happy together. They're all happy together. And we cut to Shita and Jeep. They're on the streets. It's raining. And Shita and Jeep is like, screw it. We're on our own. It's us against the world. And the episode ends up there. But overall, what do I think about this episode? I really love and enjoy this episode. I love seeing Hanto and Shoma finally interacting with one another. Finally getting to work together as both comrades and as allies. I love seeing their dynamic. And I love seeing them, their fighting styles. And seeing them, work together to defeat the Granules for this episode. But other than that, this was a pretty solid episode. And I hope you guys like and enjoy this video. I hope you guys enjoy my review for episode 12. And pretty much that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys like and enjoy this video. Also, stay tuned for my review for Kamen Gavv episode 13. And I got some more videos that I'm working on. The first video I'm working on is a Marvel's Rivals video, so stay tuned for that. The other two videos I'm working on is a Godzilla -1 video and a Ultraman Rising video, so stay tuned for that as well. But stay tuned for more content on the channel. Stay tuned for more Transformers and Tokusatsu videos and more non-Tokusatsu content on the channel. And stay tuned for more content on the channel in general. But other than that, that's going to be it. Make sure to like and share this video. Also subscribe to the channel. By subscribing to the channel, you'll be really supporting me as a content creator and really supporting the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.